Hi everyone, it's Dot, and today we're making butter chicken. And as you can see, I'm in the middle of making my marinade, and I'm just chopping up a red pepper or two. I've already chopped up the first one, and you just want to finely dice them. I do recommend you use kitchen food prep gloves, simply because you don't want the oil on the pepper to get onto your fingers. Otherwise, you rub your eyes, rub your face, you start feeling hot. It's a bad thing. I've been there. So all you're going to do is just slice up your pepper. I've already took out the seeds. I'm leaving a few seeds for a little bit of heat, and I'm just cutting them into thin strips initially. I want to make sure I don't get my glove in there. If you want them thicker, you can have them as thick as you want. I like to do them a little fine. For part of the marinade, I'm using whole cumin seeds and whole coriander seeds. But what I'm going to do is toast them first. You want a hot pan, and I'm going to spread them out. And all I'm going to do is start toasting them until I smell them. You'll smell their fragrance essentially, and that's when you know they're done toasting. It should only take about a minute or two, but what you also want to do is shake your pan. You don't want to burn your seeds. You just want them to start releasing their natural aromas. For my seeds, it took about a minute on high heat. I put them in my spice grinder, and I'm just going to go ahead and start grinding them up. Now these are ready to go into the marinade. I've got a lot of chicken here, so it's time to add all my ingredients to marinate it and give it great flavor. I've got garlic, full-fat Greek yogurt, pink Himalayan salt and black pepper, grated ginger, juice of half a lemon, my pepper, the ground up cumin and coriander seed, and last but not least, turmeric. Now, all we want to do is start mixing everything together, and I'm doing it by hand. Best way to do it. It's better than using your feet. It's going to go in the fridge for about 2 hours. My marinated chicken is almost ready, so I went ahead and got the rest of my ingredients all set, ready to go, including my cilantro, which I chopped ahead of time with the stems and all. And that's important. You can eat the stems. Don't fear the stems. You don't have to pluck off every leaf. Now, the next ingredient I need is tomato puree. I don't have any tomato puree. Oops, I forgot to pick it up at the grocery store. So I'm gonna do something a little bit different here. I'm actually taking whole plum tomatoes, they're canned. I'm just gonna go ahead and add them to my little container for my stick blender. We're gonna make basically my own little puree. Tomato puree is a little bit thicker than a tomato sauce, but it's obviously thinner than a tomato paste. To make sure it has somewhat of a consistency of a tomato puree, I'm going to add just a little bit of the juice. I'm not going to add a whole lot because the juice is what makes it thick or thin, essentially. I kept it in a little longer than 2 hours, and look at it. It looks exactly the same as when it went in. The first thing you want to add is your onions, and I always like to make sure that my veg is at the bottom as opposed to having the meat below because the meat can overcook. That's the hot zone. So next up, we have ghee. If you don't have ghee, you can certainly use butter. This is butter chicken after all. Next up, we're going to add the chicken, and it's going to be chicken in all of the marinade. It's all going to go in. You want to make sure you spread it out rather than having it stacked. You want it sort of an even distribution. Again, you want even cooking. We're going to add some ginger, and what you want to do with the ginger is you want to cut them very, very thin. So just sort of like that. Garlic, minced garlic specifically. Then you want to add your spices. I'm adding sea salt, ground turmeric, ground coriander, ground garam masala, and a little bit of dark chili. You don't have to add the dark chili powder if you don't want to. I'm just deciding to try it out this time around. Want your cilantro? Then you're going to have butter. Again, it is butter chicken. Some bone broth. You need some liquid in here to help cook. And I'll link to my video below on how to make your own bone broth too. Heavy cream and your tomato puree. Go ahead and mix it up. I'm not going very deep because I don't want to disturb the onions that much, but you want that sauce to start spreading around, or what will become the sauce. Now I'm just going to cook it on low for about 8 hours. All right, it has been a very long, hard day of work. out in the yard, and I am so ready to dig into this dish of butter chicken. I made a cilantro lime cauliflower rice to go with it since I can't have rice itself. This smells delicious and I'm just waiting to dig in, so let's give it a taste. I got a little piece of ginger along with the piece of chicken. It tastes really creamy, very savory, nice and thick. I did add, just a little note, I did add a little bit of gargum to it, maybe about an hour before cooking, because I thought it was a little too liquidy, and it really did the trick to thicken it up. That's one of the little tricks that low carbers like to use, but all of the different spices I added just really meld really well together. My husband did sneak a little bit of it earlier, and he said his view was if you order a butter chicken in a restaurant, in an Indian restaurant, his view was it's exactly the same flavor. Don't know if that's necessarily true, so I'm sure there's some folks out there who cook Indian food a lot better than I do. Definitely go ahead and give it a try. It's a great way to get Indian food back into your diet when you're low carb. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit like, subscribe, share with your friends, and until next time, I'll see ya.